Representative Patrick Meehan, Republican of Pennsylvania, traveled with President Trump to the state on Thursday. Doug Mills, The New York Times, Washington. Representative Patrick Meehan, a Pennsylvania Republican who has taken a leading role in fighting sexual harassment in Congress, used thousands of dollars in taxpayer money to settle his own misconduct complaint after a former aide accused him last year of making unwanted romantic overtures to her, according to several people familiar with the settlement. A married father of three, Mr. Meehan, 62, had long expressed interest in the personal life of the aide, who was decades younger and had regarded the congressman as a father figure, according to 3 people who worked with the office and 4 others with whom she discussed her tenure there. But after the woman became involved in a serious relationship with someone outside the office last year, Mr. Meehan professed his romantic desires for her, first in person, and then in a handwritten letter, and he grew hostile when she did not reciprocate, the people familiar with her time in the office said. Life in the office became untenable, so she initiated the complaint process, started working from home and ultimately left the job. She later reached a confidential agreement with Mr. Meehan's office that included a settlement for an undisclosed amount to be paid from Mr. Meehan's Congressional Office Fund. On Saturday, John Elizondo, Mr. Meehan's communications director, issued a statement saying that the congressman denies these allegations and has always treated his colleagues, male and female, with the utmost respect and professionalism. Mr. Meehan called on the former aide to waive the confidentiality agreement in the settlement to ensure a full and open airing of all the facts. Mr. Elizondo did not respond to follow-up questions about why Mr. Meehan had agreed to the settlement and the confidentiality provision if the allegations were false. Alexis Roenicker, a lawyer for the former aide, called Mr. Meehan's statement a desperate effort to preserve his career. She said the congressman had demanded confidentiality in the first place, and was now asking her client to waive it, knowing that she would not agree because she prizes her privacy above all else. After this article was published online, Ashley Strong, a spokeswoman for the House Speaker, Paul D. Ryan, said that Mr. Meehan was being removed immediately from the House Ethics Committee, where he has helped investigate sexual misconduct claims, and that the panel would investigate the allegations against him. In addition, Mr. Ryan told Mr. Meehan that he should repay the taxpayer funds. Ms. Strong said, sexual misconduct accusations against powerful men across a range of industries in recent months have prompted a national conversation about gender dynamics in the workplace, and the inadequacy of support systems for victims. In Congress, several lawmakers have left office or announced their retirements in recent months over sexual harassment claims. Still, Congress remains a workplace where victims say they have few effective avenues for recourse. Meehan's case sheds new light on secretive congressional processes for handling such complaints, which advocates say are slanted to favor abusers, allowing them to use the vast resources of the federal government to intimidate, isolate and silence their victims. As a member of the Ethics Committee, Mr. Meehan was tasked with being a part of the solution. The panel has initiated investigations into sexual misconduct claims against at least 4 congressmen in recent months. 2 have resigned: Trent Franks, Republican of Arizona, and John Conyers Jr., Democrat of Michigan. The other 2, Blake Farenthold, Republican of Texas, and Ruben Kihuen, a freshman Democrat from Nevada, remain in office but have said they will not seek re-election. Mr. Meehan has been pushing for protections for domestic violence victims since his time as a local prosecutor. In Congress, he has sponsored legislation mandating the reporting of sexual violence, and he is a member of a bipartisan congressional task force to end such violence. This account is based on interviews with 10 people, including friends and former colleagues of the former aide and others who worked around the office. The New York Times is not naming the former aide, who followed the recommended procedures for reporting harassment but came away from the experience feeling traumatized, according to several people with whom she shared her feelings. Meehan's family was close to the former aide, according to friends and colleagues, and she was regarded as an integral employee in the office, according to people who worked in or around the office. They said Mr. Meehan seemed to favor her over other employees, so much so that others saw his favoritism as unprofessional. He expressed interest in her personal relationships outside the office, then seemed to become jealous in April when word spread through the office about the aide's boyfriend. After Mr. Meehan's professions of attraction and subsequent hostility, the woman filed a complaint with the Congressional Office of Compliance over the summer, alleging sexual harassment. The handling of that complaint, which included an aggressive pushback by representatives from Mr. Meehan's office and congressional lawyers, who suggested she had misinterpreted the congressman's behavior, demoralized the aide. It led to her estrangement from her colleagues, and isolation from friends, family and her boyfriend, according to the people in whom she confided. It set her back financially and professionally, as she continued to pay legal costs associated with the complaint even after leaving her job in Mr. Meehan's office and struggling to find a new one. She moved back in with her parents and ultimately decided to start a new life abroad. Mr. Meehan was represented in this process by 2 officials from his congressional office and 2 lawyers for the House's Office of Employment Counsel.